Today's a video that I really never thought that I'd actually make, because I didn't realize that this was even really possible until a couple of weeks ago. I was searching the internet to buy a couple new Aventadors, and I came across an Aventador that I had just sold. And I was like, yo, this car looks really familiar to me. A dealer had my previous 2013 Aventador for sale that I recently purchased about 4 months earlier from Veyron Coach in Beverly Hills. There was a small change in this Aventador though, and it had to do with the miles. The odometer was wrong, and I was like, that can't be right. It's probably a typo.
Oh, small but big.
Well, I guess it's a really big deal if you're buying that car, right? But so I bought this car from a Veyron Coach, and I actually took a picture of it, of my contract, because I went to go look, and I was like, hey, this is kind of fishy. So on what was the date that I bought it? Does it say here? Crap.
I'm assuming top right.
On their paperwork, it doesn't have a date. Oh, here it is. April 8th, 2021. The car had 11,976 miles.
Okay.
So I was like, wow, that's a good deal. We got a good deal on the car. You know, we paid, I don't know, whatever, $250 for the car. And we started renting it. So usually we put 5,000 miles on a car and then we sell them to avoid massive depreciation, right? So I wholesaled the car to a wholesaler, and then that wholesaler goes and sells the car to a dealer, or the dealer buys a car from, they sell it at auction or whatnot, right? So the car at that time had,
when we sold it,
yes,
16,044 miles.
16,044 miles. So
right
pretty
at
much
5,000
right
miles.
at that 4,000 to 5,000 mile mark. Plus the Aventador in the summertime. See, the real reason we sell the Aventadors is because it gets really hot, and Aventadors are not able to be driven in plus 105 degree temperatures. It actually says it in your manual that your warranty is void if you drive in those conditions, which is kind of funny, kind of stupid at the same time. But in the middle of June in Las Vegas, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, really
it's
hot, really
157,000 degrees, but it's about 120. So we had the car for about 2 months, and that's a pretty good time. Then we average about 2,500 miles a month at royalty, which is a pretty good number.
Oh, yeah.
So we made our money, we got rid of the car, and we sold it. So this ad, the miles on the car were.
Are you tired of driving the same car every day? Does your life not have enough pizzazz? We've teamed up with Wizza again to give away a brand new 2020 McLaren 720S. But not this one. This one's mine. Theirs has a really cool wrap on it. The McLaren 720S has a V8 twin turbo, 710 horsepower, and 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. Wow. One of my favorite features about this car is trunk space. Another one of my favorite features is this. Wow. The best part about teaming up with Wizza is that a portion of the proceeds go to an amazing cause. The best part is, if you don't want this car, they have other great prizes on the website. Go to the link in our description, enter promo code royalty, and get 10% additional tickets. I hope you win.
Yeah, so I bought the car 11,976, and on the thing it said like 11,960 something, right?
It was an awful decision.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, but on the ad, the physical ad, right? Because the Carfax said 976, because that's what I bought it with. On the physical ad itself, right, there was a picture of the odometer at less miles. The point is that this guy rolled the miles back. Okay, I bet a lot of you are wondering why we had this dealer miles rollback video up for 5 minutes and we took it down. That's because something wonderful happened. Like legit wonderful. I feel like if one thing has gone right in YouTube, this is the thing, okay? I'm actually being real. We made the video about the Aventador, and I didn't name the dealer that the car was at because I never made contact with the dealer. I just saw the pictures online and this and that. So the Aventador I sold to a wholesaler in Los Angeles, and the dealer, Cario Motor Cars, bought the car from him. So the wholesale in Los Angeles, I guess is the one, not I guess, it was the one that made this complicated scenario for everybody. So Carrio Motor Cars, the owner of Carrio, called me literally, like, I don't know how he got my phone number, but he called me immediately, said, bro, take that video down right now. I had no idea. We got to fix this. I don't want anything to do with this. I'm not that guy. I don't want to get in trouble. He was like so adamant. I immediately paused the video. We had a 30-minute conversation, and we put the pieces together. So Jacob, the guy that owns Carrio, he went through and he still had the car. He took it and everything got offline, all that stuff, and he got it all fixed up. Okay, so that was really, really cool. And he reached out. We went through all of our inventory that he's ever bought from this wholesaler, and everything was resolved. Nothing else had actually been changed. I think the other Aventor that we were referring to was unmistaken pictures, because that car, the titling and all the paperwork, the bill of sales, all worked out. So it's kind of a one-time situation that obviously won't happen again, because we brought this major video out about it, and it got like 12,000 views in the first, I don't know, 5-6 minutes of it. And that's a lot of people.
It's definitely
right?
a lot of people.
People were writing like 1-star reviews on Carrio's thing, and I feel bad. Anybody who did that, please take him down, because he had no idea, and he was doing his job right. He made the most immense effort to fix the situation. So I'm just basically gonna cut this clip and input it in the video and put this video back out, so everybody knows that
he was doing the right thing.
That he's doing the right thing, right? So to that point, I feel accomplished. I feel like we fixed something. Yeah. So there's so many things that happen in this business that people ignore and they go down, and I'm glad that we put this to light, because everybody's like crossing their T's, dotting their I's, and it keeps everybody on their toes.
Absolutely.
So
and it is a real thing.
It's a real thing, right?
Very real.
Luckily, this one got fixed, and we can move on. So I'd like to cut this right here, right now, so we can get into the cool part of this video where we talk about the car market. And
that's what everybody wants to know about.
That's what everybody wants to know about. Impending doom of the car market starts now. To make matters more simple, the point of this video is to alert you guys of people that are rolling these cars back. And I really want to make sure that you understand that if you go to a dealer that's not an authorized Lamborghini dealer, they don't check the cars, they don't go through the miles in the transmission computer, they just look at the odometer. They don't have the tools and the software to do that. So you typically are taking a great risk, especially right now. With COVID, it brought out everybody scamming everybody. And this is no different, because those cars went up so fast in value. 5,000 miles could mean 25 to 30,000 extra dollars in the price, but it could mean more than that during COVID, because the car market is so wild that every mile is just like, it's unbelievable. So, you know, an Aventor that used to be 250 is now 300. So rolling back those miles is probably even more lucrative today than it was last year. It's pretty scary. The idea is if you're gonna buy a new car, we gotta figure out how do you get the safest purchase? How do you make sure that you're not gonna get scammed, right?
Absolutely.
So where do we buy our cars from?
Dealers.
Yeah, but which dealers? I mean, we buy all of our cars new except for Aventadors, because they really don't make those new anymore.
So Lamborghini Las Vegas, Ferrari, well,
not Ferrari of Las Vegas, Ferrari of Honolulu, but they kind of screwed me, but oh well.
That's for another day.
Yeah, that was that. Anyways.
McLaren Newport Beach.
Yeah, so Lamborghini Newport Beach. Basically, we're looking at Las Vegas and Newport Beach, right? And we have the help of a long-term business relationship of mine, Luxury Lease Partners, right? And I wanted to bring them up in this video because it's really important to have a solid team behind you when you're building a business like mine or purchasing personal cars, right? So for my business, I've been recently able to expand my business, and I've gotten a line of credit and some business financing, and we've been able to grow with Luxury Lease Partners. But Luxury Lease Partners doesn't really specialize in business stuff. They specialize in personal cars.
Yes.
And they're some of the best people in this business. I've used them for probably 3.5, 4 years now.
Yep.
And it was small in the beginning, and now it's big, right? And it allows us to really give the customers a better experience here, because we're able to access newer and better cars, like the brand new Huracan STO we just got. You know, that car's $400,000.
Very expensive.
Right? And so they were able to help me get the allocation and find the car, and the guys on that team are wonderful. So they also make sure that these cars are not previously salvaged or in accidents that are not reported or mile rollback. They do all their own investigation and make sure that, because they're actually purchasing these cars and leasing them to you or financing them to you, whatever you may call it. So it's a really big deal.
And they do this all very quickly.
It's like a couple days.
Yeah.
So
quickly.
I'm not trying to make it a commercial for them. I'm just trying to make sure you guys understand that it's so important to not be stuck with that car. So let's say it's called TMU, True Mileage Unknown. Let's say you bought that Aventador out of Florida, right? You're screwed, right? You just bought this Aventador and you take it to Lamborghini. You're not eligible for any warranty. You're not eligible for any service work. Nobody will touch that car. And that car becomes basically a paperweight. You're gonna lose 50% of its value overnight, right? And we've got to hold someone accountable for that.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's the biggest problem, because if I buy a True Mileage Unknown car, I'm screwed. There's no way it's going to be sold. So if you do get stuck with a car that has some mileage issues, you can go to the DMV, to the local authorities, the Attorney General, and there's a lot of protections for anybody that's in this problem, because they're not allowed to do that. Their licensed dealers are going through rigorous background checks and everything in most areas.
Yeah.
But they still, for some reason, seem to want to scam everybody. So you got to go and talk to the local Department of Motor Vehicles. I had to say that really slow so I can remember. And it's not my friend. Those are not my friends. I'm not a big fan of the DMV, but they just make my life really hard.
Yeah.
But anyways, besides all that, it's really important to do your due diligence, right? And I feel sorry for whoever bought that Aventador, whoever bought my green Aventador, because this is a really bad situation to be in. So if you did buy that silver car, you literally should, or who bought that car, should go back and ask for your money back immediately. Call the state of Florida, because that's really messed up. Tony, do you think that there's anything else that we can help anybody with?
What are the best ways to protect yourself when buying a car?
Definitely having someone in your corner, right? Like, you don't want to blind, if you're searching for your first used Lamborghini or used supercar, you definitely do not ever want to buy it from some untrustworthy person, right? Go buy it from a franchise dealer. You may pay a little bit more, but it's for good reason, right? Lamborghini Dallas, Lamborghini Houston, Lamborghini Las Vegas, right? I love Las Vegas. I buy the majority of my cars from Newport Beach and Las Vegas because they're amazing people to work with. You have George over there at Las Vegas and Rod, and then you've got Sebastian at Newport Beach. These guys are amazing people that you never have to worry about them being dishonest with you. Second, right, when you're financing these cars, you want to make sure you're not getting screwed. A lot of dealers, and not the big franchise dealers that I'm talking about, small mom and pop ones, add points on the back end of your loan. So you'll go into a car at $250,000, you'll finance the car, and if you go to your payoff 1 month later, you can owe $275,000. You're like, how is that possible? The car was $250,000. Mm-hmm. Well, they add all these points in the back end of your loan and get referrals and credits and this and that, and you end up paying for that. And a lot of people don't realize that. When you go through these lease companies, there's a lot of weird back end fees that they add to your loan. So it's very important. And the interest rate is complicated. So you have to make sure you're dealing with a really responsible company that is doing you a good favor of helping you get this car to increase your odds of owning the car, right? Because you're not set up for success if you've got a bunch of fees and 20% interest, right?
Absolutely. Also, with the market the way it is right now, where do you see it going in the next 6 months, and how does that affect car buyers?
It's really a tough conversation to have. Right now, if you look at the car market, it's probably a 40% overvalue, right? I mean, it's really a high number, but it really is like that. I mean, it truly, the Cullinans are wild. They're $75,000 to $80,000 over sticker for a black badge, $25,000 to $50,000 over sticker for a silver badge. And that's just a Rolls Royce. Rolls Royces are typically the most heavily depreciating cars on the market. You can look at the Ghost at $400,000 new. 5 years later, they're $100,000, right? It's 25% of its value. The Cullinan is a great opportunity to own a really cool car, but it's a very, 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 very expensive car to own, and you got to be careful with that. But when you look at the car market, it's all about supply and demand. If the supply is extreme, right? you get discounts and you get deals, and dealers are kind of struggling to sell the new cars. Manufacturers give kickbacks. If the supply is zero, then the used car market goes wild. That's what's happening right now. So the supply of new cars is next to nothing. I had 12 allocations from Newport Beach, and they cut me down to 6, and I still haven't gotten one this year.
Yeah,
I was already supposed to have 6 cars this year from Newport Beach.
Yeah, which you made the video on.
I got 0. So hopefully I can get 2, 3 before the end of the year, right? The McLaren Altura should have already been, should have had 2 by now, right? And we're looking at, that was supposed to be here in June. We're looking at maybe September, right? So that being said, when supply comes back in the market, manufacturers are hurting just as much as the dealers are hurting, right? Manufacturers need to sell cars, so they're going to increase the supply as much as they can in 23, 24, 25. So you're going to see an overabundance of the Lamborghini Erupts, the Cullinan. So you got to be really careful buying those particular cars. They already make low production sports cars as it is, right? Huracans, 488, F8s, and now that the 296 is coming out, you'll see that car. But I would expect there to be a 25% pullback once production goes to normal and dealers have cars to sell new on their lots.
When, in the future, what do you see as being our era's Countach, Diablo, and high value cars?
The cars that have 0 screens in them. Think about your iPhone, right? And I hate to say this about electric cars, but really any technology, right? When you get into the Bugatti Veyron, there's no screens, there's no tech, it's all beautiful. That car will never age, right? Aesthetically, it's subjective, but at the end of the day, the car will never age. You get into like a 2007, 2009 Mercedes S-Class, and it's got these weird buttons and all the screens are green, and you type your phone number in there and all that stuff. That car's worth $10,000 today, and it was $130,000 new, right? The cars that will not age are gonna have no tech, right? That's why I'm such a huge fanatic of my Koenigsegg CCX, because I truly believe that it's gonna be like the next McLaren F1, right? When the F1 was, before McLaren started selling cars to the public, besides just the race car, they were 600, 800, 1 million, right? The F1 really was never an expensive car. Now the McLaren's a big company and they've got all these cool new cars. The F1 was their OG car. It was the stick shift. It was basically the only manual transmission McLaren pretty much ever made, right? That car just recently sold for $20 million last weekend. And that's that massive jump. So to my knowledge, there's 6 6-speed manual Koenigsegg CCXs in America. There's 13 in existence. The CCX was their first car that was all Koenigsegg. And that car, when Koenigsegg has the Jesko out, the Gemera, and all their new cars that are coming, right? Once Koenigsegg goes fully electric by 2030, like most manufacturers, the CCX is worth $10, $12 million, right? That's a car you'll never see me sell. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. You're not gonna be able to replace it, right? The Veyron is the same. That's why I have 3 Veyrons. Well, now 2, sorry. 2 Veyrons, because that car will go up dramatically. Now I know I'm talking hypercar, but if we go back and talk supercar, look what car just skyrocketed recently. The Murcielago, right? 2003 6-speed Murcielago, 2 years ago was $100 grand. 100. RM Sotheby's, odd color, 8,000 miles, 445,000. What? That's ridiculous, right? But it's great because, like, my friend Edmund, his 6-speed manual LP640, he recently sold it, at the beginning of the year. He sold it to one of my other friends, but that car with 20,000 miles, guaranteed will bring 700,000. Guaranteed, right? Carrera GTs, 600 grand 2 years ago, 1.5 million today, right? No tech, no buttons, no screens, just pure driving experience, So, you look at your Gallardo, 6-speed manual Gallardos right now, 130,000 bucks, deal of a century. I've got 3 of them. Okay, I love those cars, right? And I know that those cars are going to skyrocket. Manny Koshbin with his McLaren SLRs. Those, I'm not a big fan of the way that car drives, but they look amazing, and that car is going to skyrocket too, because it's that perfect balance of unique power and drivability. Right, the 599, there's a 599 right in front of us. That car there, 6-speed manual, went for over $700,000. Now there's a very rare 6-speed manual in a 599. It's like only like 10.
Yeah.
Right. So that's probably going to be a $2 million car in the future. But anyways, like the car behind me, 430 Scuderia, right? If you get one of these, it's going to be great. 6-speed manual Scud. I'm sorry, they'll make that 6-speed manual 430s. They'll be $250,000 to $300,000 real soon. So you can look at that, make your own opinions, but I think that people get the gist of what's going to be appreciative.
Yeah. Based off your knowledge of the car market and just overall, do you see any post 2012 cars taking that jump?
That's interesting. In
Because
2012,
they're so mass produced.
Yeah, in 2012, you really don't. I mean, from McLaren, you had the MP4. You had the late LP Gallardos. I mean, if you get the Super Trofeo Gallardo, very limited E-gear, right? Last of its kind, right? Wonderful car to invest in. That will go up, right? But it's not going to skyrocket like something with an analog gearbox, right? Anything with the paddle shift gearbox is kind of similar to today's, situation, like an Aventador, right? Or a Huracan. In Mercedes, you had the SLS. I think that's probably the most valuable car from 2012 or 11 to 14. The SLS AMG Gullwing only will be the one car, I think, in that era that just goes up 5 to 8 times. And you're seeing that right now.
Yeah.
I purchased that white one for like 130 grand, and just a year later it was 200,000.
Yeah.
Right? Just 1 year.
Yeah, we've been seeing those jump quite a bit lately.
Huge
ever since we
and
started
massive
looking
jumps.
into it.
Ferrari, you have the 458.
That's what
So
I
the
was gonna ask
458 Scuderia is probably the one car from Ferrari that's going to take its massive jump. That was a mass-produced car. And when I say mass-produced, I mean people can go and buy one right now. It's the last naturally aspirated V8 from Ferrari. It's the one that was designed to be the final edition. That car is $300,000 to $350,000 right now as we speak. I can see that car being $600 in 2 to 3 years.
Wow.
Right? And especially because that car looks good.
It is a
right?
very good looking
The
car.
48 looks like dog shit. The F8 looks very good, right? The Pista looks great.
because of the design.
But the 296
design.
GTB, it's kind of ugly, man.
I
mean,
said the same thing.
It's a weird looking car. It'll
It
definitely
is.
grow on me. SF90 looks cool, but it's a big car, right? When you shrink the SF90 down to the 296, add some battery power. It's a fast car. It's a cool car, but it's really not going to be a special car.
Yeah, we'll see where they go with the whole battery as well.
Yeah, I think that I'm scared because the battery is the most unreliable part. And for my business, we don't get warranties from manufacturers. So, I think that it's going to be called Royalty Classic Car Rental here real quick. So we might not be able to transition into the future. It's going to be rough. But I'm excited. I'll keep these cars,
For sure.
right? I'll keep the real good gated cars. And I think that there's going to be a market to utilize those cars in 5 years.
Do you feel like our generation, you and I, are really close in age?
Yeah, we're 32.
I'm 31. Do you feel like
We're 32.
that classic car guy or car enthusiast buyer is dying out?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you see that at the auction, right? When we were at RM over the Monterey weekend, and all those really, really expensive race cars, like the 60s, they were no sale, right? No, yeah, that Porsche that was subjected to go to $20 million,
Of course.
only bid up to 15, right? And it did sell. Those are cars that are not going to be that much more valuable going forward, because I don't give a shit about that car.
That's why I asked.
Why do I care? What is that car going to do for me, right? It's slow. They're cool looking, but it's not beautiful, right? It's not something that you're like, oh my God, I have to have. Now there's a couple 264 Californias, 1950s super classic Ferraris that are already well into the 20, 30 million range. Those are dope cars because they look cool. That's the breaking ground of sexiness, right? But anything from like the 20s to the 50s, all those Fords and all those cars, the Thunderbirds, the Mustangs will have some heritage,
Yeah.
Camaros will have some heritage, but anything back then, 10 years from now, I don't see the value, right? When I'm 40, I will not be bidding on a Model T. It's not gonna happen, right? And when my dad right now is in his 70s, right, he's done buying stuff, right? Most people in their 70s and 80s are done buying things, right? It's your 50s, 60s that you're just retired, you're ready to spend your money on cool stuff. So when I'm 50, right, which is 20 years from now, I'm gonna be looking at cars from 2005 to 2015, right?
Yeah, that's why I
and
asked.
you know, that's what I'm saying. You know, actually, it's really going to be like more like 2000 or 2015. You know, and so you're, you know, all the classic hypercars that they came out with, the Veyron, the F40 will always be something spectacular. The F50s, right? Those are cars that were on my wall when I was a kid. You know, so when you see that, that's the cars that are going to go up, just like the ones that you're seeing today go up. It's a 20-year generational gap. Right. That's pretty much the answer to that question. But I don't think that that's uncommon knowledge.
If you had to pick one car that is the poster car for the next generation, what do you think it's going to be?
Murcielago is a good one. It's tough to pick one. I think that Murcielago is a really, really good car, right, to choose there. There's a lot of sex appeal on the Murcielago, but you know, it's tough to pick one car. I really would pick the Bugatti Veyron because that car just is so special, and it was the car of all cars for 10 years, right? 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. But then you also, you know, you have the McLaren F1 and the Koenigsegg, right? Koenigsegg will be one of the greatest companies in 10 years. They're already doing something that no one else is doing. So you're going to see that car. Agueras are tough because they weren't road legal in the US until 2015, 14. So like you have a big gap between my car 08 to that one, right? And then you have the final editions that are already $6 million. Right. So that's a tough car to collect. You know, my Koenigsegg CCX was 1.2 million, right? And I can see that car going to $6, $7, $8 million soon. But the moral of this story, and we just had some conversational car talk, is to be careful buying your car. Really know what you're going to buy and how long you're going to buy it for, right? And if you want to buy something, get someone in your corner that helps you, right? I'll put the information to my guys at Luxury Lease Partners in the bottom, and if you ever are buying your first supercar or buying your 10th supercar, whatever it may be, they're always going to help you. And so, you know, like I said, it's not a sponsored ad for them or anything. I just want people to know who my team is. And if you guys know who my team is, right, you can trust that it's a good team because we've been here for a long time. You've seen our business grow for a while, and you can really get behind the Royalty brand because we always do the right thing.
That's right.
So